Are you ready to be unleashed and unstoppable?
Are you ready to experience a breakthrough and step into your next level of leadership?
Living a life of power, purpose, and possibility on your own terms, unapologetically.
This podcast is for discovering how to play big, how to be unleashed and unstoppable.
Through wiring inner success at the source as you step into your full potential as a wildly ambitious leader.
We are
Lianne Carter and
Carol Register. We are certified Master Neurocoaches and the founders of Unleashed and Unstoppable You.
We're best known for being confidence-boosting, neurohacking, productivity, and wealth experts.
And for high-achieving leaders, visionaries, and entrepreneurs.
Now let's be unleashed and unstoppable.
Hey, Michael, I am so glad you're here today. We are talking about all things business, all things wealth. I know you've got some exciting new projects in the work. And just tell us a little bit about yourself. I'd love to let our audience know what you're doing right now and, all about Think Unbroken as well.
Yeah, so I started Think Unbroken about 6 years ago. We help people who have been through traumatic childhood experiences transform their trauma into triumph. We've worked with thousands of people around the world. We host a big event every year called Unbroken Conference. We have a pretty big podcast called Think Unbroken Podcast. And as of today, I own multiple businesses. I have multiple different sources of revenue, if you will. And we just launched a brand new podcast and a brand new company called Pods of Purpose here at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I love that. I'm a part of your Pods of Purpose group, and I really align with what you're doing in terms of, working with people who have been through traumatic experiences. Especially as a neurocoach, it's very important for me to help people understand, just like you do, how they can heal and the things that they can do. And for our focus today, I'm really leaning into what we can do to help people in terms of their finances. I'm a multiple business owner, international business owner also, and having multiple streams of revenue is one of the most wonderful places to start. Speak to us about that.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that people always jump right to multiple revenue streams, and I'm like, get the first one good. Get the first one to a place where you can pull yourself out of the business, where you have a team, where you're working on the business, not in the business, and then go and launch the next thing. And I made that mistake young, so I know that from firsthand experience, where it was like too many cooks in the kitchen, could never accomplish anything. And I look at Think Unbroken, we built that company up, and it wasn't until it was in a place where we have systems and teams and SOPs and funnels and automations and all that stuff did I even dare think about Pods of Purpose. And so context, because this, you joined the Pods of Purpose group probably about 6 months ago, and I had to put it on the wayside because we ran Unbroken Conference, because of my travel schedule, because of how I'm always speaking. And so priorities are priorities. Keep the main thing the main thing. And as we've grown Pods of Purpose, for an example, now we're doing full production for a dozen shows. And my retail company, which I'm a partner in, which I will always suggest, get a partner if you can find one you like, trust, and know. We did just under 5 this past year, 2022, and we have 30 people on that team. Right. And so a big part of that is just making sure you get the right executive leaders on the team, make sure you have the right support systems. Everything really comes down to it's so boring to run a business, but you have to do the little things every single day if you want multiple streams of revenue that actually make you money and don't cost you money.
I love that. And I love what you said about working on the business instead of in the business. Will you lean into that? Because you're talking a little bit here about, being able to do the boring things, and yet how do you stay out of the weeds when you are building a business?
Well, when you're building a business, I don't think you can stay out of the weeds. I think it's a requirement. But when you get to a certain point of scaling and growth, you have to realize, like, if you keep trying to do this all on your own, you might as well be okay with where you are, because you will never make more money.
Right.
And most people are like, why am I not making more money? Because you're so close to all the elements of the business that you cannot focus on the revenue generating activities, right? And so it doesn't make, at some point you have to realize you're being dumb if you're writing all your newsletters. You're being dumb if you're posting all your social content. You're being dumb if you're doing all of the things that aren't your area of expertise. And look, and that's not to be a jerk and call people dumb. It's just like, that's my numerology for it. Because I look at that and I look at, looking back on my career early as an entrepreneur 13, 14 years ago now, I'm like, I was so scared to let go. I easily left tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, probably millions of dollars on the table, because I was like, I have to do everything. And then you realize, like, a business is really independent of the owner itself, right? Because most businesses can, if you build the right business, let me phrase it. If you build the right business, you don't even need the owner.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. And then the business, that's what so many of us have done and made the mistake of, totally guilty of overcommitting, being distracted because that was my baby, right? And letting go of the baby, letting the baby grow up and be independent is sometimes a process, a journey. And I think, so what you're saying is put the focus where the focus needs to be, and really be in the weeds when you at first need to be, but also know where to let go. And I know that comes from mentors like you. You're an unbelievable mentor in this. And I really appreciate the fact that we can start to zone in on our focus and step out at the same time. It's a both and really speaking into wealth and the principles of wealth. One of the first principles that I teach is that your relationship to your finances is a reflection of your relationship with yourself. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, that's a great question. I interviewed Ken Honda on Think Unbroken podcast. He actually also spoke at Unbroken conference. And we talked about this concept and idea that I've really been sitting on for the last year about healing your money trauma. Because so many people don't understand that they're indoctrinated into their relationship with money from their family, from their community, and really from television and media. It's incredible. Like, I try not to get sucked into the death scroll of Facebook and Instagram Reels, but I did recently, probably about 3 weeks ago, it was like these kids walking up to these other kids and talking about how much their clothes cost. And I remember watching this, and one girl distinctly, she had on like a $2,700 outfit. And I'm like, for what? Why? What value does that bring you in your life? Knowing that kids are in debt more now today than ever, knowing that kids actually don't know how to make money more than ever. They all want to be social influencers, but they have no business on the backside of it. It's like, okay, you got to pause and look at that. And then as an adult, looking and sitting in it and going, what are you actually using your money for? So I'll tell you this, I stay broke. Like, I'll clear multiple 6 figures, almost 7 figures this year, and I will be broke all year long. I'm telling you right now, for 2 reasons. One, because I'm always reinvesting in myself and my businesses. And 2, well, I'll give you 3. 3, I'm always investing in assets and things that can actually bring me residual incomes. And it's not like I'm making $1 bazillion a month or anything. And number 3 is because when I don't have money, it makes me work hard. Because I have to think about, like, where's this, Grant Cardone, who became an investor in Think Unbroken, says something everybody has heard him say, and it's, who's got my money, right? And that's about the thing. Money is this energy transference that exists across all planes of all social structures in the world that we live in. And somebody has money for the service or the thing that you're providing, but you have to be willing to go get it. And most people are unwilling to go get it because they're terrified, because when they were young, their parents said, you need to be quiet and sit in the back and keep your hand down and don't make noise. And they're like, but I have the perfect product, and they're terrified to tell anybody. So that perfect product doesn't help anybody. Thus, they can't get get anyone's money. So when I talk about this concept idea of healing your money trauma and relationship with money, you got to go and connect the dots to 45 years ago when mom said, make sure you put that nickel in the penny jar or whatever, and don't ever spend it. Or if you're like me and you grew up on food stamps and welfare, people go, this is the only amount I'm ever worth making. And then when you change that relationship with yourself, which is an internal job, you realize you can actually make as much money as you want to. Now there's skills. I had a mentor once tell me, you are not ready to be a millionaire yet. And I remember sitting in that because I had lost $1 million and I was 50 grand in debt. Do you know why? Because I used to go to the mall and spend $10,000 on a Friday like a moron. And so the thing that you have to do is like, this is an internal journey entirely. And the greatest thing about being an entrepreneur is like, if you really want to find out who you are, start a business.
Yeah, man, so powerful, Michael, so powerful. I love the way you opened up with speaking into value there with the young lady with the $2,700 outfit, and those messages that we get that our value is always based on the external, and bringing it all the way back around to the fact that having mastery over money mindset, if you will, having the ability to really have a great relationship with money goes back to that internal journey all the way. And just knowing that you live broke, the discipline that it takes to be wealthy, I am so aligned with that. I keep the liquidity locked up, if you will. And it's a really smart way to live because you stay hungry, right? And you're always going for it, which I absolutely love. And also, recognizing that we have to have the skills. And I love what you said about the fact that, losing $1 million or not being at the level of leadership that you need to be at without the skills that you need to obtain what you want financially. I think that's so powerful and so important, because you can start that journey now. You can be right now in that walk of where you want to be to have everything financially that you want to have. And when you talk about the internal journey, I think it's actually childlike simple. And even though it is a journey, it doesn't have to be complicated. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, because I know you've done so much work in this area.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, like, this is the thing I always teach my clients. The first thing I always talk about, you are no longer a child.
Yeah.
You are no longer a child. And this isn't, you're no longer a child, put childish things away. I think that's stupid. This is, you're no longer a child, so take some damn responsibility for your life.
Yeah.
And stop waiting for other people to rescue you, and stop blaming other people because of the problems in your life, and start doing the things that you need to do. Like, that's what Carol, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. People refuse to do the thing that they want to do, and so they get the result of that. And the thing is that when you get the result of that, you have to sit in the truth. And the truth is simple. Truth is fact. What can I put on a table? What can I look at and go, that happened, right? People are like, I want a great body. Okay, cool. Well, you ate McDonald's 12 times this week. All right, cool. Yeah. You want good money? Okay, well, then why do you have a subscription to every single movie platform and you watch more television than you do putting time into your own life? All right, cool. Probably not going to get that either. Yeah. And this concept and this idea, it's really reparenting, right? It's giving yourself the thing that your parents denied you. And that often 90% of the time is discipline, not discipline in negativity and that you will be punished and there's ramifications, but discipline as in, i.e., if you want your life to be different, you have to show up every day. Actually, it's funny. Last night I was at dinner with some people on my mentor's team, and we're having dinner. And they were like, one of them asked me, they said, how did you get so successful? And I'm like, first off, success is defined by the person, not by the social construct. And so I go, I'm successful for what it means for me. And then I said, the most important thing that you need to know about creating the life that you want to have is massive consistency over a long enough timeline. And so I look at my life, and here I am 13 years removed from the attempting to kill myself. And now being a leader, being this person, all of these things. And it's like nobody, and people talk about this all the time. I'm only speaking from my own perspective. Nobody sees when I'm up at 5:30 in the morning creating the life that I want.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know how many times I've been called a workaholic in my life? I can't even, if I had a nickel, right, I'd be a bazillionaire. Because people are like, you're a workaholic. I'm like, no, you're misconstruing my ideal life with what society tells you your ideal life should be. And so if I continue to live into the narrative of what it was that my childhood was, then it would literally be, okay, be on welfare, be sick, smoke cigarettes, get drunk every night, blame the government, and say, where's mine? And so because I decided that I needed to heal and no longer be a damn child, my life changed because I created responsibility. And responsibility and discipline can be a lot of different things, but predominantly it really starts with something very simple. Take out everything that I just said, and I'll give you a soundbite. Do what the hell you say you're gonna do, period.
Yeah. I love that. I mean, that is the definition of leadership, right? No longer being in that victim mentality of, everything, life is coming at me. I have to live it according to what everybody else is telling me and everybody else's terms. I don't get to be intentional about my life. And I love the way you speak into the fact that you get to create your success. You're the one that's having that consistency that is defining things for yourself and not listening to the narratives that were handed to you as a child, but reparenting yourself and stepping into who you really want to be. I think shout out to, I meant to mention this a while ago, shout out to Grant Cardone. I'm in his mentoring program and 10X Owners Live, and also Ken Honda, Happy Money. Yes, love it.
Love it. Changed my life.
It's so powerful, that gratitude, right? And, just shifting those stories around. And you know what I get excited about when you talk about this, because from a neuroscience perspective, we don't realize that we're making our daily decisions from our subconscious, and that we actually can reprogram what is faulty wiring in that subconscious, those limitations that we grew up with, that negative internal chatter, and we can wire in our leadership, our discipline, our responsibility, our consistency, and those things that we get to define for ourselves. Success really is something that you as a person can define for yourself, and do what you say you're going to do. Build that confidence, build that integrity with yourself. So beautiful. Thank you so much for being here. And I'd love for you to share all about your newest venture with the Pods of Purpose podcast. I'm super excited to be a part of the group, and just would love to hear more about that.
Yeah. And I just want to add one thing before I do that. Everything we just laid out is practical, except there's one missing piece that most people don't understand, and that's patience. That's patience, because here's the truth about it. It's going to take you longer to do the thing that you want to do than you think it's going to take. And so you have to have grace for yourself in this process, because most people, and I'll give you a great example, since you're in Grant's program. I've done Grant's programs. I've given Grant so much money, it's not even funny, right? Even though he's invested into Mike, right? And he's invested into my company. He's given me money. I'm one of the few people on planet Earth Grant Cardone has ever given money to.
I saw that.
And here's the truth about it. People in that program, people in other programs, they take workshops, they get courses, they read books, and then 3 weeks later, it hasn't happened, and they pull themselves down and they say, this was a stupid investment, and I can't believe I didn't do this, and blah, blah, blah. And the truth is, it just takes forever.
Yeah.
It took me, I'll give you context just quickly. It took me speaking on hundreds of stages over 7 to 8 years before I ever got on Grant Cardone's stage.
Wow. Wow.
It's patience. So it's patience, it's discipline, it's being scrutinous about the process, but it's also giving yourself grace to know, in the same way I wasn't good enough yet to be a millionaire because I hadn't lost it all. You're not yet, keyword yet, good enough to have the thing that you want to have. So take your time, be patient, learn the skills, execute, and then eventually on a long enough timeline, you'll have what is yours.
I love that. And you know what? I just want to say that has to do with knowing, at least for me, it has helped me to know my why, because I was listening to everybody else's why for myself. And, you know, that patience for that consistency and knowing why you're doing it, why you're passionate about what you're doing, why you want to impact and serve people and help lives to transform. I mean, that's huge, right? And that's everything, all the energy that emanates from you all the time, of what you're doing in that way to help people to not live into those old stories and to transform their lives.
And it ain't rocket science either, right? So that's what I'll say about that. And thank you for the opportunity to be here and spend the afternoon with you. The podcast, the podsofpurpose.com. So we just started Pods of Purpose. We help purpose-driven entrepreneurs use podcasting to change the world. So between creating content, short clips, reels, SEO, transcripts, websites, blah, blah, blah. We made it full service production just so it's easy, because it's the one thing people don't understand, that podcast is the future of marketing, and that in reality, the truth is we've only just begun. Whatever you think you have an idea or concept about in terms of the future of podcasting, you're completely wrong. And podcasting will be the new television, which, as we know right now, no longer really exists in the form of format. And so I think that one of the things that I wanted to do in this is we say no to a lot of people. So there's an application process. We have to approve you. There are certain stringent guidelines that we have, because we only work with purpose-driven entrepreneurs.
I love that. I think that just gives me chills, because the value that is automatically loaded into that simply by setting that intention is so incredibly powerful. And I really, really thank you, Michael, for taking the time to be here today. And, you know, I fully support you. I'm so excited to put you on our podcast, Unleashed and Unstoppable, because we're here to help you be unleashed and unstoppable in your life, which you are, Michael. So thank you for coming on. I appreciate you deeply.
It's an honor, my friend.
Thank you. Okay. We'll see you later. Ciao for now.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Unleashed Unstoppable podcast with your hosts, Lianne Carter and Carol Register.
If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review, and subscribe.
That's all for this episode, Wildly Ambitious Leaders. See you next week.